Hey everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to Ready Set Crypto. Today is Wednesday, the 24th of April. Good to see you guys again. Welcome, ladies and gents. All right, let's get started here. What do we see in the markets? We are starting off with Bitcoin, and today what we're seeing is a little bit of distribution at the 50-day moving average. So this is not surprising. We are still in this big, large consolidation pattern, which is pretty much going from about 60,000 up to about 74. Let me bring over my pen today. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are out there. I'd love to know where you're checking in from. We got Steph coming in from Amsterdam, and we got a pile of people on board. So let me know where you're coming in from. And then as we get going here, what I'll do is I'll ask you guys what coins you'd like me to look at. So what coin pairs you want to take a look at. So I'm going to give you an overall view of what I see happening in the market here. And, when we're going to hit the $1 million point, whatever. I'm joking on that. All right, let me get my pen going here, and I will get with the program. All right. Okay, so there we go. We have pen in place now. So what I'm looking at here is we have this larger time frame consolidation pattern. It's pretty much a big box between 60,000 and 72. The reason for this, I believe, is because we've gotten to the point of, on the monthly chart, we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months in a row straight to the upside. That comes at a cost. It's like if you were trying to climb Mount Everest, you wouldn't be able to just summit on one day, even though it's just a few miles to the top, right? So you have to stop at these different base camps along the way and rest and acclimate to the different altitude. And this is how markets work as well too. So what I'm thinking is we'll probably be trading within this $60,000 to $74,000 range on BTC for probably at least a couple of months, if not maybe a little bit more than that. Or what we could see is a very rapid retrace. Now, if that happens, this tends to speed up the whole process of consolidation. So in other words, if we came down to something like anywhere from 52 to 44,000, somewhere in that area, that could do the same thing, and we would see this energy bolt straight up, and we'd set ourselves up for the next move. Okay, who else is checking in here? We got Vider checking in from India, Bangalore. There we go. The place, the home of the torpedo. We have Maf checking in from Seattle, Washington. We have Josh coming in from Chicago. And okay, we're starting to get some requests coming in. So yeah, I'll do that once I finish this. So what we also see is we have volume profile that we can look at as well too. And this is volume at price. So what I've been saying in the newsletter every night is this zone, we have a lot of volume at price, but once we get below 60, we have essentially nothing. So if this does go below 60, say there's somebody else drops a missile, or anything else like that shoves some uncertainty into the market, we're going to see a very quick move down to about 52. So what I think you guys need to do is to put resting orders down there at 52, resting limit orders at 52, and just forget about it. Forget about your resting limit order, but pick up some inventory if it drops, because you could see something like this happen in the span of minutes and a bounce back up in the span of minutes. So all you need to do is just put a resting order at 52 and allow yourself to be taken in. All right. Hey, we got Enthosapien checking in. All right. Good to see you, everybody. I'm glad you guys are joining us here today. So the way we're going to do this thing is, again, if you're checking in, let me know where you're coming in from. Love to know where people are on the planet and where you guys are at. I myself have been a place called Greenville, South Carolina. Very, very nice place. It's been spring for about 2 months now. So we have great weather. All the leaves are in. And, man, it's interesting. In 2 days, my daughter's getting married. So I'm heading off to a wedding here shortly after tomorrow morning. And have to give the old father of the bride speech. So that's it's not something you do every day. Well, there we go. Okay, so today we're seeing a red day across most assets, and it's, again, this is not a big deal. This is no problem. Although everybody else that's got weak hands is going to be, like up in arms about it. Like, should I sell? No, you hang on to this stuff and you look to buy. We have a primary uptrend in place. So we're going to get pullbacks along the way. We're going to get consolidations. It is meant to shake out the weak hands from this. Okay, so let me go into the request. Our first request that we have is from Vider checking in. And Vider wants to look at DYDX. All right, so let's look at that. I have not looked at this one in a while. So interested in doing that. DYDX, and we're going to do that versus Tether. All right, so daily chart is in a downtrend. Okay, so let's see if that's just something to be worried about short term, or is that a longer term issue? It is a longer term issue because what we have here, and I can go just to price and volume here. What we have is a longer term base that has been set up. So you can see here's the initial pump on the release of the coin on Binance, and then it's been coming down. And right now, what we have is a low base, and we have seen this with many, many, many coins. This is a low base. We saw this all the way through 2018, 2019, into 2020, and then we started seeing coins coming out of the base. So what I would say for this one, for DYDX, is don't touch this until it gets above 4 and starts to establish itself in a longer term trend. If you've already got this, you're stuck in a base and you've got to wait until it gets out. So you've got dead capital right now if you're holding this one as a bag. Okay, next one is coming in from Josh, wants to look at GPU. I'm not familiar with this one either. So we're going to see Node AI, GPU, and this one's really new. That's on the weekly chart. Let's see if we have anything on the daily chart. Daily chart showing no trend. No trend there, Josh. Hard to analyze this one and see where there's any. If anything, this is a little bit of a bear flag, which is a consolidation in the middle of the next move. So there's no trend in this one. I would wait until this one starts to always look for a weekly uptrend. Always look for a weekly uptrend. If you fundamentally believe in this, then you can look for pullbacks to buy. But for right now, I like to buy on assets that are going higher in price. Okay, next one from Enthosapien. We're going to look at ShopX. ShopX. And we have this versus Tether, and this is also kind of a tough trend. So anytime you have difficulty picking up the trend, so right now this is just playing within a range from 0.012 up to somewhere about 0.28. So we go out in time and we say what's going on in different time frames. So what we also see here is the same kind of thing. We have this kind of ugly. We started out real strong back here in 2021. This is obviously a coin that was released like right at the highs of the bull market. And it got up as high as $4 or $5 per coin. And since that point, we're just stuck in a base. We are stuck in a base. We are in the gutter on this one. So I think it's helpful to go out to a larger time frame chart. Again, so you can't really see this if you're just looking at the daily chart. You're just seeing this and you're saying, well, what do I think here? Can we buy at this point? Well, certainly it's cheap. but I don't like to buy things unless they're already accumulating in price. Okay, so that's ShopX. All right, MAF, we're going to look at Solana. So let's look at Solana. Solana's been okay. It's not been great. It was great for a while here, but a lot of assets started really falling apart when the interest rates started going up into the mid to late part of March. So they've had a difficult time with higher rates. So there we go. So that's Solana. Let's look at the weekly chart on Solana. Now, here's a good example of what I've been talking about, guys. So Solana was in the same kind of, crappy looking base like everything else has been in, for the longest period of time. This looks like every other crypto chart that went through the lows in 2022, 2023, but then something happened. All of a sudden, on a weekly chart, it starts making higher highs and higher lows. This is what we want. So right now, if you look at this, it survived the swing test down here at about 125 or so. It survived the swing test. Now, this needs to continue going higher. What it cannot do, what I would be an instant seller of Solana, is if it goes back down into this pattern again, because that's a failure. It's a breakout failure. So right now, it's good. Green light on Solana, but it cannot go back down to 120. Okay, let's see ICP, which is Internet Computer. Okay, same kind of thing here that we just talked about. Ugly, ugly base. So if all you look at is at the daily chart, you wouldn't see this. You wouldn't see what's going on. You'd say, hey, it's kind of going up. Well, that versus where it's been just tells me that this thing is in a pretty ugly base. Now, you might make the case that, wow, this thing was completely, totally overvalued when it was released in the spring of 2021 at the bull market highs at 627. Okay, maybe that's true. So what would you need to see to be a buyer at this? Okay, I want to see a weekly uptrend. And we kind of have one here. It's kind of, it's very muted, but it's trying to get out of this base. It's trying to get out of this base. So we are above the 200-day moving average, which is a good sign. So that's a good sign. It's not a very good trend, though, right now. So you can look for, what I always like to do is I like to use the trend trading strategy that we use and that we teach, and we have signals going into the room. Let's see, where did this go? There we go. Okay, finally. So what this shows is you buy on 20-day highs. And right now the 20-day high is up here at 18, but probably it's going to go down to 16.4 fairly soon. If it is able to do something like this, this would be a buy signal if it's able to break above that level as that turns into a 20-day high. So I would watch for something like that. So that's ICP. So it's not great, but I have to give it props for breaking out of a very, very bad weekly trend. Okay, Render is the next one. And guys, make sure that you get your coin pairs in there before we finish up today. We usually go for about a half an hour. As long as there's questions coming in or currency pairs coming in. Okay, so here's one, Render token. Now this one's fairly new because we don't have, let's see, CryptoCap. Do I have a better version of Render token? Let's see. Let's go out to Binance and Tether. Yeah, that's better because now we have a 200-day moving average. So we're still well above the 200-day moving average. If we go out to the weekly chart, we still have a nice weekly trend. This is one that's kind of gotten away from itself. It's gotten away from itself. So this is a big rounded base that really didn't spend any time doing the handle. So that would be cup with handle. It didn't really do a handle. A little bit of a handle down here that you could say. But it's gotten way ahead of itself, and it's already coming back down to retest support at 5. So I would wait for this one to get above the 50-day moving average. Very similar, if it's able to set up this higher low, higher high combination, break above this descending pattern, then that would be an early entry into what could be the next trend. So that is render token. Okay, next one is looking at Pendle. Pendle is on our alt list. And Pendle has actually been doing quite good. This is really, really good price action. So I spend most of my time during these review sessions with you guys, like saying, okay, this is a bad looking one. It's got a bad base, all that stuff. But occasionally something will come along and I'll say, hey, this looks really good. And this one does, because what it's doing is it's linear. It's linear in how it operates. Look at how, this is like a staircase. And then that is going to a very flat consolidation pattern. And then we have another staircase going to another consolidation pattern. This time it's more of a triangle than anything. So Pendle is actually really, really good from a charting perspective. Let's go out to the weekly chart. Let's see how this is doing. It's been really nothing but up. So Pendle is really one of the best looking technical charts that I've seen in this space in a long time. Now, for whatever reason, they don't tend to stay very long in crypto. So one example of that was Tron. Tron recently was like doing great, right? So back here, we had this whole base of Tron, and Tron was like, the best looking asset that's out there. And especially on this move here, but it's recently gone through some. It's now trading under the 50-day moving average. It's losing support at the 200. So you can have things that are going really, really great for a long time, and then crypto tends to play whack-a-mole with these assets. Okay, so that's my view on Pendle. Pendle looks really good. I like Pendle a lot. Chain flip. All right, I am not familiar with chain flip. Let's go take a look at chain flip. Flip on Tether. Okay, so this is the daily chart. This one it's not been around for very long, since last November. And that would be your basic weekly downtrend. Yeah, I would say let this one play out. Let this one play out. So, Steph, I wouldn't say that chain flip is good right now. It is bad because it's gone immediately from a higher high to a lower low. So something changed over the last few weeks with chain flip to completely invalidate and break this chart. This is a broken chart, unfortunately. Okay. Sweeper. Okay, not familiar with this one. Sweeper. Let's take a look. Sweeper versus Tether. Ooh, okay, here's another one. This has only been around for 1, 2, 3 weeks, and it's going through its postpartum depression, right? It's going through the post-ICO depression. Pump it up and then crush it. So this one is not good, needs to set up a base. It could take quite some time on this one. One of my favorite indicators, the ones that I use all the time, that's a good question. I like the fundamental ones. So Ethosapien, right off the bat, what you'll notice is I spend most of my time looking at price and volume. So if we're going to look at something like BTC, I will spend a lot of time just looking at price and volume, because that tells you everything. Every indicator is a derivative of price and volume. Price at volume in some form or fashion, right? Moving averages are just derivatives of price. Stochastics and MACDs are derivative of price and volume. It's all the same thing. RSI comes from price and volume and time. So all of them come from price and volume. If you can read price and volume, like this is, there's so much information that's in here. So notice how as the price was going up, the volume was increasing during that. And while we're in consolidation, the volume has been tailing down. That is perfectly normal behavior. That's what you would expect to see. This is what happens. People chase after moves like this, and so the volume goes up, and then when you start seeing the price will not go, people just, they go to sleep. People go to sleep and say, I don't want to follow this anymore. I'm going to go chase, penny stocks or something like that. And then they give up on it, and then meanwhile, boom, this thing takes off without them on board. So price and volume are what you should be doing. Now, the other thing I like to look at is volume profile, because this is volume at price. This is volume at price, and it will show you these air pockets. These air pockets where, and I'm not kidding about this, if we lose 60,000 on BTC, you're going to see 52,000 literally overnight. You will see it overnight because there's nothing to support it down here. There's no, when you see price action do something like this, there's nobody left behind saying, yeah, I wish I could have gotten in at that point. Everybody's going to have their resting limit orders down here at 52. So this can give you some edge in things. And then, of course, I combine this, the fractals. So I like looking at multiple time frames. Let's see if I can do this here. I do like looking at multiple time frames for crypto. With something like this, because then I'm able to see the monthly chart, the weekly chart, the daily chart, and see how they all kind of work together with each other. And then also using what's called the choppiness index, I understand the energy of each chart. And these charts are ready to go. The weekly and the daily chart are ready to trend, but what we have here is exhaustion on the monthly chart. This gives me the context behind what's going on. And I understand that it's very, very unlikely for the market just to break out at this point. Or if it does break out above 74, it's not going to be long-winded. It's not going to be a long sustaining breakout from that level. And I do use anchored VWAP. A lot of that is intraday. And I will also look at this on the daily chart as well, too. Okay, a couple more, and then we'll wrap up our session here. We will wrap up for today. Let's go back to a single. We can leave that. That's all right. So we're going to go look at Near protocol. And Near looks okay. I mean, look at this from a weekly perspective. If we look at this from a weekly perspective, right, so we had this great rally into 2021, and then it got destroyed into a base, like everything else, right? Everything else got destroyed into a base. And then since that point, we've seen this transition into a weekly uptrend. Let me get the right view on this thing. So, yeah, there we go. There's a nice weekly higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, retest of the swing test at 4.6. Right? Didn't we see another chart that did exactly the same thing? Maybe it was Pendle. Maybe it was H-bar. I forget which one it was. One of the ones that we looked at earlier. I think it was Solana. Yeah, that's it. So this very much looks like Solana. But this is the type of transition. This is something I'd be willing to buy on the right signals right now. Near protocol. Okay. Anything else? Any last requests for today? Let's go take a look while I'm waiting for that. Let's just go take a quick look over here to BTC and finish up our analysis for today. Okay, so yeah, that's Near. Let's go to BTC. There we go. Okay, so rejection at the 50-day moving average, no big deal. Watch what happens at 60. Watch if the price closes below 60, it's going to hit 52 very quickly. Okay, last one here for today, and then I'll wish you guys a good evening and a good week, is Mubi. Mubi. Okay, so this is on a daily chart. Let's go out to the weekly chart and see what's going on. Pretty undetermined trend, and it's had a really bad week so far. Undetermined trend. It's got to hold this level down here at about 13.7 cents. Otherwise, this thing is toast. But to me, this is just setting up another base. I would let it set up this base for however long it needs to until it's ready to come out of this. And that will be a break above 24. Okay? Guys, I think we're all set. So I want you guys to have a great week. Be patient. Let this thing set up. Let the price come down. Watch your resting limit orders at 52. If you like what you hear, come join me at ReadySetCrypto.ONE. ReadySetCrypto.ONE. It's inexpensive and very, very valuable. So thanks, everybody. You guys have a great one, and I'll talk to you soon. Adios.